Hello BookTube. Well, another thing that I did this holiday was some more retail therapy. Oops. No, actually it wasn't really retail therapy. It's just a minor addiction problem. You see, what happened was we went off to Wagtails, which is the animal welfare charity shop, and basically we went to go and drop off some more things of my grand's, and not just of my grand's but from thinning out the house a bit, and they accept pretty much everything from clothing through to old jewellery, CDs, you name it. So we went and cleared out some stuff, and of course they have books. So I got stuck there and gave them a lot of money too. So it goes to a good cause, so I don't feel guilty in the slightest, and considering the price of these books, I don't feel that I did myself, well, any wrong either. It's going to a good cause and it was dirt cheap. I mean, take this. This was £1, which in anybody else's money is nothing. So I've heard Steve talk about Rumpole, and I found quite a few Rumpole actually. I found the first omnibus, the second omnibus, and then Rumpole a la carte, which comes from the third omnibus, but they didn't have that one. And considering that that cost £5, I'm not complaining. So I thought, instead of just saying, well, I bought, I thought I'd give you the opening sentence of Rumpole. And keep in mind, this is one sentence. So it says, I, Horace Rumpole, barrister at law, 68 next birthday, Old Bailey hack, husband to Mrs. Hilda Rumpole, known to me only as she who must be obeyed, and father to Nicholas Rumpole, lecturer in social studies at the University of Baltimore. I've always been extremely proud of Nick. I, who have a mind full of old murders, legal anecdotes, and memorable fragments of the old book of English verse, Sir Arthur Quiller Coach's edition, together with a dependable knowledge of bloodstains, blood groups, fingerprints, and forgery by typewriters, I, who am now the oldest member of my chambers, take up my pen at this advanced age during a lull in business. There is not much crime about. All the best villains seem to be off on holiday in the Costa Brava, in order to write my reconstructions of some of my recent triumphs, including a number of recent disasters in the courts of law, hoping thereby to turn a bob or two which won't be immediately grabbed by the taxman or my clerk Henry, or by she who must be obeyed, and perhaps give some sort of entertainment to those who, like myself, have found in British justice a lifelong subject of harmless fun. So that's the first sentence, I kid you not. And it sounds like it's going to be delightfully humorous, if nothing else. So as I said, I've got the first omnibus, which is a collection of 3, the second omnibus, which is also a collection of 3 stories, or 3 books, and then Rumpole a la carte, which is just 1. Whoops, did I move the world? Then, on the recommendation of Alan Morton, I found a bind-up, if that's the proper word for this, of some of the works of W. Somerset Maugham, and it doesn't have On Human Bondage in here, but it does have a much nicer copy of The Razor's Edge, because mine I also got at a second-hand sale quite a couple of years ago, and it looked like it had been quite literally through a wringer. There were water stains and all. And when you're buying second-hand books, you start wondering, well, what kind of water stains were they? But this was $10, and it's in immaculate condition, and even the naked hardback itself is just absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to read any parts of this as yet because I'm not quite ready to start, but what I do like with this edition is that every story comes with a preface as well, so I'm likely to get a bit more out of that too. Also on the Maugham, I got this too. Somebody was obviously clearing out somebody's collection, and this is The Narrow Corner, which is not a short story, well, not a novel in the collection, and so I have that one as well, and it's in pretty decent condition too. Then I got, I think it's my 4th copy of the Canterbury Tales, but this one's a Norton, and I really do like Nortons. I've only ever bought one brand new Norton, and that was a university requirement, and I couldn't find a different edition, because Nortons you just add a couple of zeros on after the price of the normal edition. But I figured that I can't go wrong with the Norton edition of the Canterbury Tales. And I also found a Norton edition of Great Expectations. And although I've read Great Expectations as well, I'm looking forward to just reading the notes at the back. And one of the things that I liked is that it shows you how it was published initially, where you've got the layout for the newspaper. It's just the first page. And it also goes through original writings by Dickens on it, although it would be more helpful if you could actually read that and not need to rely on somebody else's notes. I mean, there's another one there as well. And they've been very nice in translating it into regular English, which is going to help. I also found someone's receipt for a speeding fine in there. Maybe it could come in useful one day. Who knows? Then I got A Horse Walks into a Bar by David Grossman, and this won the Man Booker International, what year was that? 2017. And I see that this is set in Israel, and it's likely to be interesting. It's short though, so it shouldn't take too long to get through. And then two classics that I've been looking for from the same writer. I've only had Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell in the past, but this time I got Wives and Daughters, and this is pretty darn good condition. I don't think anybody's ever read this actually, because you don't even have the regular oil stains in the front of all the pages that you usually get from red books. And this one is north and south. It's got a little bit of sun damage here, and one crack down the spine, but I don't think it's actually been read all that much, because it's also lacking the oily mark down the front. So those are the books that I picked up at secondhand bookshops. I also got some from what's it called, Books Etc., although they just sell books, and that's otherwise known as the School's Feeding Fund charity, where they provide meals to underprivileged children at school so that they can get at least one solid meal a day. So overall, I would say that the 80 Rand that I spent, which is less than the price of one brand new book, for all of that, overall, I think was a pretty good haul from my side, and at least I have helped assist in some worthy causes. So I am now in the process, you can see the pile of books behind me, of rearranging my bookshelves, because yeah, there was everything just needs to get moved. As soon as I put in something, I don't know, I seem to buy a lot of books at the beginning of the alphabet, and then of course I went and I sold a lot of my Lee Child, so that I've cleared. I need to rearrange, move around, and also dust. It's amazing how dusty books get so quickly. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing with the rest of my evening. Happy reading. Bye for now.